This episode is brought to you by our patrons. Thank you so much for being a patron. And if you're not one and you'd like to become a patron, just jump on over to patreon.com/LunchTimeTechTalk. Now, on with our show.
Happy New Year!
Woo! We made it. We survived another decade.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any Y220K.
Do you want to know the crazy thing?
What's that?
I realized this last night. We had Christmas with my family.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma was born in the 20s. And we're entering the 20s.
So she's almost 100?
She's 92. She was born in 1927.
Gosh, she's seen a lot.
She's seen a lot.
Unless she stayed just in her house.
Yeah, but I mentioned it. I was like, Grandma, we're about to enter the 20s. Is that crazy to you? And she, God bless her, she's on the downside of life at 92.
Well, that makes sense.
And she's in a lot of pain.
Ugh.
And she said, yeah, never thought I'd see it. Which sort of sounded like I don't want to see it.
Well, I'm gonna agree with her. 2020 felt like it was like
I know.
a bajillion years away, even back in 1999.
And now we're here.
And here we are. Flying cars and everything.
They just got invented in the last 3 days.
Right, yeah. Every year they've been invented. Have you ever noticed that? Like every year it's like a popular mechanic comes out.
Something
Yeah.
that flies and looks sort of like a car.
Like in the 60s, it was like, here's a Volkswagen Beetle you can strap wings on.
Technically, isn't a hovercraft a flying car? Technically?
I don't know the rules on that, but I'm going to assume that it's in a zone of flying, but since it can't do anything other than like hover.
We have planes. It's fine. We have things that fly.
And the hovercraft is a terrible idea. Don't you think? Because what happens if that like bag gets ripped? Does it just like the fans just start blowing out the side and you sink? Well,
Yes.
that's if you're on water.
Right. If you're on land, you just drop
Yeah.
to the land.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to get a boat/land vehicle, I would get one of those swamp buggies that has the big fan on the back and just
Yeah.
scoot across lawns.
Sure, everyone would appreciate that. What did you do since the last time we talked on this podcast?
I got a welder.
Yeah, for Christmas, right?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing,
You're welding, bro.
but I got this thing that shoots metal out and gets really hot and melts it. Yeah, so I have always been interested in like welding things.
Yeah.
But it's always been like, I watch those little videos on YouTube and Facebook of like, look at what I built, and I built it in a time lapse. And then,
Right.
And you're like, wow, if I just had a welder, I could
If
do that.
only I had a welder.
It's so easy, right? You just squirt this metal thing on this metal, and it makes metal.
It's just like glue.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
a little harder than that.
Super freaking tough. Yeah, there is an art to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got a little flux core welder for Christmas, a little Harbor Freight one. Didn't buy an expensive one. This was under $100 for the whole thing. I had to buy like a mask and all that, but that's super cheap. Everything's cheap at Harbor Freight.
Sure.
And I thought, you know what?
Did you get you some gloves?
I did. Some leather gloves.
Nice.
Some cow gloves.
Nice.
They're just leather.
Yeah.
They could be alpaca. I don't know what they are.
Llama?
Yeah. But it's kind of exciting. I built a little trash hauler.
I saw that.
Yeah. And
Pretty sick.
my dad was like, wow, this looks really good.
Have you measured your driveway? Do you know exactly how
it's
long it is?
Almost a tenth.
Almost
of a
a tenth.
mile.
That's
Yeah.
that's a pretty good walk with a trash can.
Yeah. Especially since it's gravel.
Right?
It does not want to move. But I built
It doesn't want to roll.
I built that one for my mower, but it's just like wood kind of cobbled together with hooks.
Yeah.
And it works. But it's the winter.
It's janky.
And I
And you're not
don't
on the
want to
mower.
freeze riding up the driveway.
Yeah, so you built one to hook on the back of your Volt.
Yes.
So when you take your recycling out, you're being super green because you're using your electric car
I
to
don't.
take your recycled goods out.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Mike doesn't have recycling. I told him to just go with it.
Sorry.
That's why he's laughing.
I did have it at one point,
Yeah. Not in the new house.
and at this point I don't.
Yeah. Do you have a burn pit? since you've got land?
I did burn all of the cardboard from
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah. So that's
There
like
was a lot.
recycling.
Part of me, it's kind of, yeah. I wish I had.
It's not like recycling
I'm
at all.
releasing the carbon
Yep,
back
let
into
the
the
carbon
earth,
back into the air.
and
Don't hate us.
they can do whatever it wants with it.
Yep.
Mother Nature. I would like to get a burn barrel because it's kind of terrifying burning boxes.
They blow.
Yeah.
It's been really windy.
You
here
have to
the last few days.
contain.
Uh-huh.
You can't walk away from it.
Yeah.
So that's that. I got a welder. So that's
Cool.
I've been playing with that.
Of course.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, I've just been building a trash can hauler, just hauling trash.
Do you want to talk about the new thing you found out about Amazon?
What was it that I found about it? Remind me.
Sending stuff back.
Oh, yeah, that was cool. So I got a present for Christmas, and I specifically asked for this little clampy clamp thing, and the clamp thing did not clamp like I wanted it to.
Not quite as user-friendly as hoped.
No, it was very complicated.
Sure.
So I was like, well, this takes a task that would normally take a few seconds into minutes. And I'm like, this is the
Great.
opposite of a tool. And so it could have been user error. Who knows? But I did find out that the Amazon had an option for me this time that I didn't even have to have a box. I didn't have to print my label. All I have to do is take the item into the UPS store, show them this little QR-like code, and they'll scan it and pack it for me.
That's crazy.
It's super convenient. This
Super
is why
convenient.
Amazon dominates
Everything.
all this stuff.
Yeah.
They make stuff so simple.
My wife told me that she was at Hobby Lobby the other day just trying to check out, and a lady brought something back in a Ziploc bag with no receipt.
Awesome.
Or, no, she had the receipt, but she didn't have the original packaging.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just in a Ziploc bag,
Yeah.
pieces and parts.
Pieces and parts.
And and you know, at Hobby Lobby, they don't scan your barcode, they just type in a number,
Oh,
right?
I don't go there.
So she's
Scares
got
me.
this receipt with no descriptors on it. And she's just telling the lady it's the $9.99 one
Mm-hmm.
over and over.
Mm-hmm.
It's yelling at her.
Oh.
And my wife's texting me while this thing's going down, right? And she's like, this lady in front of me. And she's giving me the rundown. And she's like, she just keeps screaming at the lady that it's the $9.99 one. And she's like, woman, your thing is in a Ziploc bag. They don't even know that it came from this store. And so finally someone like goes back to look at where it
I didn't
came.
even think of that,
There
but
are
that
none
makes
left.
sense.
There are none left. So they can't even verify that it's from Hobby Lobby, that the price was $9.99. Like, they've got nothing to go on. I was just like, and she's getting mad at them. And I'm like, really? You gotta understand, customer service has a line.
Well,
Like, where you draw the line.
yeah, right. It's the holiday season,
Yeah.
and is $10 really worth it?
Apparently, it is. I would say no.
I agree.
Did any of your podcasts record from inside a Mazda CX-30 over the holiday season?
No.
Because a few of mine did.
What?
It was part of an iHeartRadio stunt
Oh.
teamed up with the new Mazda CX-30. It's a small SUV.
So are they?
I'm so mad.
Yeah,
because we've been here
yeah, we've
recording
been
in a car.
Mm-hmm. How many of them recorded in a Chevy Volt?
None. I only recorded in a Mazda CX-30.
I bet you they were showing the soundproofing, right?
But they were just,
What?
it was just a stunt. So it was at the California or LA auto convention, auto show, maybe over Thanksgiving, because they recorded early and then released these episodes over Christmas when they're not actually recording new stuff. And I was just, I was bummed out because it was such a stunt, but we've been out here.
So
Steady recording in
that's
this
right.
car.
So does the Mazda have built-in podcast recording capabilities?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, like, if that's a thing, yeah, we totally... I know we're not the first to record in a car, but I think we're the first to constantly record in a car.
And to let you know. And to let the listeners know that we're in a car.
Yeah, we're in a car.
We're in a car.
Yes.
You saw it on video.
Dadgummit Mazda.
Anyway, that was one of my things. But also, so It became a family tradition of mine to put lottery tickets in stockings because one year my mom put lottery tickets in my stocking, and I said, okay, this every year forever.
Because it's fun?
Thanks.
Yeah. Because you can win.
Because I won a bunch of money that year.
Yeah.
And in subsequent years, not so much, but when I got married, I brought the tradition with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're scratching lottery tickets Christmas morning, and I get to a $20 one. And my wife
$20
goes,
scratcher ticket?
Yeah.
They make those?
Yeah. That's
Holy
the biggest
cow.
they make. Or the biggest I've ever seen. And my wife goes, that's the most I've ever spent on a single scratcher. And I go, did it just call to you? And she goes, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope you win something.
I hope so too.
Scratched off $100.
$100?
A solid $100 bill, right?
Nice.
So, we're recording on Monday. You're going to hear this on Thursday the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
But Saturday, this most recent Saturday, we drove up to Kansas City for one of Laura's Christmases.
Mm-hmm.
On the way up, we stopped at a gas station, took my scratcher in, because it says on the back, $20 and under, a gas station, if they sell lottery tickets, they have to redeem it. From $20 and a penny to $100, it's at their discretion. And then anything over that, you have to go to the lottery ticket office, which we do have one in Springfield.
Okay.
But I was like, sweet, $100. I take it in, I lay it on the counter. I don't say anything, which, sure, that's on me, right? But she scans it, and she prints out the ticket, and she goes, oh, I don't have this much money.
So what happens?
And this is how it plays out, right? And I go, okay. And she goes, honey, you got to tell people if you got a $100 ticket. And I go, if it's a problem for you to cash it, you need to look at it before you scan it. And you know how much I hate confrontation. But that's exactly what I said. Yes, that is exactly what I said. I said, if it's a problem, then maybe you should look before you scan it.
Right.
Because once it's scanned, that's it.
No way.
Yeah.
So what happened?
And so she hits her cash out drawer, and she looks, and she has like 40 in 20s. And she's got a few other bills, and she goes, I guess you're going to have to wait a minute. And that was it, right? And so I text Laura, because the kids and my wife are in the car. We're on our way to Kansas City. I text her, and I put, she doesn't have enough money in her drawer to cash this out, period. I'm going to have to, in quotes, wait a minute.
Like wait for Loomis Fargo? Or
I don't know if she just got money out of the safe, and the safe's time locked, and in 30 minutes or whatever she can get it, or if I'm waiting until people come in and buy stuff with cash.
Like nothing. She didn't tell you.
Nothing.
Okay. Did she disappear from the register?
Nope. She stayed right there. And a few people walked in and just went straight to the bathroom and straight back out. And I keep turning around and looking at my car to make sure that everything's okay out there. And I eventually go, so are we waiting for a specific thing here? Or am I just standing here?
You are so you don't like confrontation. This is
I'm sweating. Not on my face, but my armpits. I'm sweating like crazy.
Yeah. You're like, come on, this was my $100. I was super stoked about it.
And she goes, well, how much are you planning to spend in here? And I go, $0. We stopped here to get gas, which we got.
Right.
And to cash this ticket.
Yeah, I already spent my money here. I bought gas.
Right. And she hits her drawer again, and she goes, do you mind taking 20 in ones? And I go, I don't care how I get it. And so I got 21s, 4 5s, the 2 20s that she had, and then however many 10s make up the difference there.
So you basically wiped out her entire cash drawer.
I walked out her entire till.
So...
But it's her fault.
Well, what...
I mean, I'm at fault too.
What if somebody came in with $100 bill, right? Mm-hmm. And bought a pack of gum.
Right, and needed change.
It would wipe out her drawer, and all she would have is $100 bill.
And in fairness, at that point, she can void the thing and say, sorry, I can't break it. And I know that gas stations don't keep a ton of money because they're at risk of robbery. But, we're talking 11:45 a.m. on a Saturday. No one's robbing you in broad daylight at noon. I don't know.
It just seems crazy to have
super pissed
barely
me off.
$100 in your till.
Yeah. But the way she It made me so mad. It lit me on fire.
I bet.
Just, honey?
And you had no idea what you were waiting for.
Yeah.
That's the
Still
best
don't,
part.
because she just hit cash out and then paid me.
I wonder if she was waiting for you to leave, and then she's like, you know what? We got this $100. When it comes in, I'm just going to take it.
Right? I don't know.
But you got your money.
But I got my money.
And you got lots of ones.
I got a lot of ones.
So it
looks like
you
I'm
got
headed to the club.
Looks like you got a fat roll of cash.
Yeah.
So, this week, there was some big news with Wyze Cams.
Yes.
So, that is the only thing
the
on our
episode.
agenda.
Yep.
So, you want to talk about it?
Let's do it.
All right.
Welcome back to Lunchtime Tech Talk. I'm Chad.
And I'm Mike from 2020.
From 2020. Dun, dun. That's not the right sound effect.
It's close enough.
It's fine.
This is fine. All right, before we get started on the Wyze story that we wanted to tell you about, we do have an update. When we recorded this, it was 12/30/2019, and they hadn't come up with an official update, or they hadn't actually said whether or not data had been leaked. So stay tuned to the end of the story to hear the official email from Wyze and what they came up with on whether or not it was or was not leaked. All right, Wyze Cam. We've talked about them a lot. We like them.
Yeah, we love them.
You use them for like little baby monitors
Mm-hmm.
to make sure your kiddos are okay. And I use them for outdoor cameras.
I'm about to get one to put in their playroom
Yes.
because they're getting to the age where they'll toddle down the hallway
Yeah.
and play in their playroom.
Yeah, they want to explore.
And if it gets quiet, we're like, hey, do you think everything's okay?
What's going
And so here's the thing. If we walk in and they see us, then they follow us out and come back to the living room. Whereas, like, they would just keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to interrupt them.
Right.
It's not that I don't want to be around my kids,
Right.
but I don't want to interrupt whatever they're doing.
Right.
And so we're going to put one in there, like, in the corner, so hopefully we can see the whole
Yeah.
room. Haven't done it yet. Might not do it now. Don't know.
Well-
You're going to tell me a lot of things, and I'm going to make a decision.
I'm going to give you a little bit of information on
Yeah.
this. This is a really kind of a weird deal. Wyze Cam on December 26th, around 10 a.m.,
Mm-hmm.
got a report of a data leak potential. And how this was discovered was it was basically an article that was published by another company that was found on a site called 12 Security. And 12 Security is just like supposedly a security, like
Like white hat
cybersecurity.
hackers?
Yeah, kind of
Okay.
like cybersecurity type place that will do things for companies. But I've got more to say about this 12 Security site. It's a little weird. It's
Yeah.
a very, very, very weird situation with them. Essentially, this site wrote a little blog post, and it was really small. It was only like a 2-minute read. That's literally all it said on the top, was like, this is going to be a 2-minute read. And it was very small. And essentially their little article said, look, Wyze has had data leaks, and they have data ties with the China government, and you could have potentially lost a lot of information from anything from like height, weight, body dimensions, protein intake. And they were even concerned about like passwords and usernames and IP addresses and tokens and things like that.
So the blog post was aimed at users of Wyze, not them trying to reach out to Wyze to say, hey, you've got this vulnerability.
Yes, and that's where it gets kind of sketchy. And that's where a lot of people kind of wonder about this 12 Security company. Now, are they right? Partially. There was issues with Wyze databases.
Okay.
So essentially, there's kind of like an international standard for reporting issues or vulnerabilities, and this company just completely went on the wayside of it. To me, it almost felt like I want to try to put my name out there to become
A big hot shot.
bigger or whatever.
Okay.
But real quick on this 12 security, what's really weird about it is they've got an address in Texas. And if you look at that address, it's not actually a business. It's not a location. It's like,
is it a P.O. box?
It's a small building and there's nothing there.
Okay.
And other people have like gone into this and like looked at it. There was actually a guy who drove by it and he's like, it's basically not a business. And then other people on Reddit are basically saying, you know, look, this was not done the appropriate way, so we can't really trust this source at this point. And which is understandable, but a lot of people are also saying that doesn't mean they're wrong.
Sure.
And so the company that actually reported that kind of brought that blog post up to a higher level is a company called IPVM. And just looking at their site, it looks like they're probably more of a website that reports on vulnerabilities and things like that, and they've been around for a little bit longer. And I guess they have more street cred with that type of a community.
Okay.
And so they're claiming that, yes, this is real, this is legit. They actually there's data, they've seen how this is working. They're saying that their databases are open and able to be accessed. And not only that, they're stored over in China. And they were saying a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And Wyze Cam basically came out and said that they were going to be looking into the issue. And what they wound up doing to basically prevent anybody from being kind of hacked into from the get-go is they basically reset everybody's login to where you had to re-log in. So any token that was stored on your device to remember who you were, so you didn't have to actually log in every single time, was wiped. So you didn't have to worry about somebody being able to jump on and just get into your cameras with a token.
Right.
Which is what they were really concerned with. And so some people didn't have any issues with it. Other people did have issues whenever it came to two-factor authentication, re-logging back into Wyze. So Wyze was really fighting two battles at this point. They were trying to scramble to see what was actually leaked, or if anything. They didn't know if anything.
Just because something's vulnerable doesn't mean anything's actually happened.
They didn't even know at that point if it was vulnerable. They didn't know if this was like a fake report trying to freak everybody out, that after everybody got these Wyze devices after Christmas. And, you know, this is even a bigger deal now because they sell locks.
Right.
You know, cameras are one thing. Nobody wants anybody peeping in on them or, you know, any of that stuff. You just don't want that. But whenever you're dealing with entry systems, it becomes an even bigger deal.
Sure.
But so basically they on December 26th, after they got the report, it was just a few hours later, they logged everybody out, wiped all those tokens, so you had to re-log back in. And then at around 5 p.m. that night, they found out that people were having trouble with logging in that had two-factor authentication. Their servers were being overloaded.
Right.
And so
just too much traffic.
Right. Whenever you do two-factor, the way they do it, it uses your phone number that you have registered with it.
Yep.
And sends you a code.
Yep.
And basically the server that actually sends out those codes was just being overloaded.
So what you said at 10 a.m. on the 26th is when the thing went out. So Wyze was tweeting all day long. By 9 p.m. on the 26th, same day, they had that two-factor thing cleared up. Yes,
they had it cleared up, but it wasn't fully clear because they basically had a queue.
Right.
And so I was having trouble with it. I couldn't get logged in. I kept getting an invalid number, but I was like, it's not a big deal. These are just, it's not that big of a deal for me, for my situation. And so I just waited till the next morning, tried it, logged right in. So, because I wasn't going to fight it.
This is 9 p.m. Pacific, so it's 11 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Yeah. So I didn't even try it then.
Yeah. So the next morning you were good to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next day they came out with basically a little update letting everybody know that, hey, this is what we went through this last day trying to figure out exactly what was going on with it. They basically went over all the things that this company claimed that could have been taken: Wi-Fi SSIDs, Wyze device information, body metrics, even like Alexa integrations. So there was several things that they were really worried about. Google Assistant, IFTTT, all these things that you could integrate with. They were worried based off of the claims that this stuff actually had gotten out. And eventually they were calling it an alleged data leak. So they weren't actually confirming anything at that particular point that it actually happened.
Sure.
As of now, the 29th, the last update that I saw from Wyze was that they did confirm that there were vulnerabilities on their database that they had cleared up. And it looks to be like it was the biggest vulnerability was on one of their test databases. It wasn't on their production. Now, I think they did have vulnerabilities on their production databases, but it wasn't as big as what was on their test. And so until Wyze actually comes out and says, look, here's the information that was leaked or wasn't leaked, we don't really know what all was out there. But they did state that they would be in contact with the users that actually had their information compromised. Now, they are claiming that there were no passwords or personal information. I would assume they mean by that like credit cards and things like that.
Sure.
But they are supposedly working on a scale, and that information came out earlier this summer that they were kind of in a beta phase for the scale. So that's why I think that there was, weight, protein, all that. Now this 12 Security came out with an article just the other day, a second one, and they had used the words like they don't know if it's from the scale or from their cameras using AI technology. I had jokingly posted on Twitter that, wow, your AI technology in your cameras must be really good unless you have a scale. And somebody else posted right below me, yeah, they got a scale basically in beta.
Gotcha.
But I'm like, that's really creeps me out that they're they're like, yeah, this is, they might be using their AI technology. I'm like, nah, I don't know about that.
They just started working on it.
Well,
I mean, more or less.
Yeah, and they got that one AI company contract. They lost it. So they would have to be writing this all from scratch.
Right.
So there's a lot of, they got breached. We don't know how bad we got breached by Wyze, and we don't really know all the facts as consumers. But it just stinks because this happens all the time, right?
Right.
I mean, it's like every company is going through this. Now, this to me isn't as bad as what is going on with Ring. I don't know if you've seen the Ring stuff.
I don't. And before we get into it, because I am interested, maybe I'm a little bit naive, or maybe I just don't care. Because even after hearing it all, it's a camera. And I know they have door stuff too, but for me, for my house, it's a camera. And in my situation, it's 2 cameras, and yes, it looks at my kids all night long, but like, part of me says, okay, if you want to watch my kids sleep or hear them cry, like, okay.
Right. And that's...
But if you have them around your house, in the kitchen, or watching the front door or whatever, like, you're capturing faces, and you can use that for facial recognition technology, and I get it. I'm just not worried about it.
Yeah, and I think that's the majority of people, and really I think a lot of it is we are so, like, we're so used to our data being breached that it's
also
it's like a dime a dozen
if
nowadays.
this was the first thing you ever heard of.
Remember the Home Depot thing?
And Credit Karma hadn't happened, or not Credit Karma, the Credit Bureau.
Yeah.
Last year or the year before, whenever it was.
Equifax,
yeah. Like, literally a third of the whole nation had their shit leaked. And it's just like, okay, let's go again.
With people being able to, like, I don't know. I'm with you. People being able to take control of your cameras and stuff nowadays it's a little bit scarier than other types of data breaches, because sometimes these data breaches don't feel personal unless you get personally hacked, right?
Like, your information's been taken, but unless they use it,
right?
Not what really happened. Nothing.
You don't know, and you almost feel like it's like a dime a dozen, right? Like, what are the chances that I'm going to get spied on? And that's a kind of a, in my mind, that's kind of a bad way of looking at it. I'm not a security expert, and that's definitely not the way I want a security expert to look at it.
Right.
But there's so many cameras that could be hacked into. The odds of them getting to mine are very slim. Now, I don't want anybody to have that potential. And that's where it's good that if you do get if a company like this does get hacked, they've done things like, up their security, so the next time this shouldn't happen.
Sure.
Secondly, they have also reset all of those tokens, so whatever information was out there to access your cameras is now gone.
Uh-huh.
And then the third thing is that anytime this happens, you should go in and you should change things like your passwords, set up 2-factor if you haven't. Don't do things that would be like really easy to identify you by.
Sure.
Like, don't name the camera like Mike Mitchell's.
Don't say it, damn it.
Mike Mitchell's camera in the garage. I don't know.
Located at address,
blah, 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 blah. Yeah, don't be very specific. Like, be very general about what you do.
I should change my camera names from my kids' names to Thing 1 and Thing 2.
You could, yeah. I mean, those are just little things.
Yeah.
Is it necessary?
No.
I don't know, but changing your password, 2-factor, those are all good things.
The other thing with the cameras, because I have the basic ones.
Yes.
That just, you put them on the wall and they're there.
Yeah, that's what I've got too.
I've thought about getting the pan for the playroom.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how the coverage is going to be, you know. If we were just in the playroom and it started panning and no one was in the app, I would lose my shit. But
well, it would. But I understand what you're saying.
But when you just have the regular one, you don't know if someone's got it taken over or not, because you can't move it.
That is true. That's been the whole fear of like webcams for a long time, right?
You don't know when someone's watching.
You hear those stories of like some creeper like hacking into a girl's webcam in their dorm room.
Right.
And it's like, this type of stuff has been going on for ages.
Right.
And it sucks that this could have potentially been a big data leak. And like I said before, we won't really know the depth of it until it fully gets released by Wyze. But
sure,
I feel like they're being very open.
Yeah.
So this happened on the 26th. Basically, there was information on the internet and a response from Wyze within a day.
Yeah.
I can't expect them to respond like within the hour that they find out, because they're not going to just jump on the internet and be like, "Oh, we got breached."
Right.
We're looking into it.
It's real.
Like, they needed to look into it. They addressed the public with it. I feel like they took steps to do it right. Now, if they did have a vulnerability in their database, that stinks, but that's a lesson learned.
Sure.
And, maybe they'll be better. They'll be stronger. They'll come back from it, and it'll be harder to hack into it.
Okay, so let's talk about Ring.
Yes.
What happened with Ring?
So Ring has been going through all kinds of issues with their cameras.
And who is Ring owned by now?
Amazon.
Okay.
And there have been apparently a lot of hacks actually getting into the cameras and actually putting videos up on like YouTube and stuff like that.
Do they they have more than just the doorbell camera now.
Yes.
They have just...
They have like a floodlight camera, and then they have an indoor camera.
Okay. So
they
they're
have
all over
several.
your house, too.
Yes.
Okay.
And apparently they have like an API that, and I could be getting this completely wrong, but from the article that I read, it looked like it was to do with the police and fire department.
What's API?
It's basically
Is it like the interface that you use to...
Basically, like if you're a software developer, you can use APIs to tap into other stuff. So if I wrote an app, I could potentially use an API to do something with the camera.
Okay.
But this particular API, from what I understand, was meant for like security, like law enforcement and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And apparently there's been people that have hacked into this.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know the exact details of it, but I know that videos have been popping up where they've basically been like, people have been like talking over their camera because they've got the two-way talk.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, hey, how's it going? And people will be like, what was that? And the creepiest one that I saw, and it's going to freak...
I'm just staring big-eyed at you right now. I don't like that at all.
This is going to freak you out. So this upset me. There was an 8-year-old girl in her playroom. And I know it's going to bother you because you literally just talked about playroom. And this guy came over the thing and said, hey, how's it going? And she's like, who is this? And he's like, this is Santa Claus. And I'm like, you are a jackass. And the girl was terrified. And she's like, Mom? Like freaking out. And I was just like, oh my God.
So she was just
playing.
No, she was just barely old enough to realize, oh, this is bad.
Yes.
Like younger than that, she would have just been like, oh, hi, Santa. What's going on?
Right.
And then that's dark.
Yes.
Potentially.
Yeah. And God, there's just some sick people out there, right? Like this guy could have been somebody who's like, oh, this is going to be hilarious. But dude, it's not funny.
Right.
It's creepy.
Right.
And there was another one where a guy was in his kitchen and there was a TV show on and he wasn't in the kitchen at the time when the video started, but the guy's like, hey, I like this show. How's it going? Have you seen this episode before? And this guy walks in the kitchen and is like, what was that? And he's like, hey, have you seen the TV show? I like it. And dude's like,
who are these people?
Trolls, I guess?
No. We've got to come up with a new word.
Creepers? Internet creeps?
I
don't know. But so that's kind of the realm. It's very, very kind of unnerving when you see stuff like that. And there's no light indicating.
Do you use the drop-in feature on your Amazon's devices?
Uh-huh.
I love it.
Oh, it's awesome.
I didn't know that was a thing when we got ours, but I was, playing in the app, and so like what I use it for most often is I'll take the kids back to their bedroom and start getting them changed for bed, and then when we're ready to do our bedtime story, I'll drop in on my wife and just say, hey, we're ready, and she'll come back.
Uh-huh.
If someone ever drops in on me, like while we're just sitting in the living room, I'll die. It'll also be the last time we ever have an Amazon thing in our house.
It'll probably happen. I've had some weird noises come over mine, and I didn't know what
But at least on that, they can't see me.
Right.
Sure, they could have been listening for who knows how long, but again,
if like
you're
my
listening
house,
on me, you're not getting anything.
There's nothing interesting.
No.
It's just like, we're just average Joes living our lives.
Right. Okay, well, that's terrifying.
Yeah, so we'll know more later. I really hope that if this really was a really bad data breach from Wyze, that they've really buckled down, and I hope that the data that they did lose really wasn't detrimental to anybody. Yeah. I mean, to me, it doesn't sound like it is, but it's like you said, we're almost immune to these data breaches anymore.
Yeah.
And
hey, Wyze spokesperson, if you want to talk to the people on Lunchtime Tech Talk, we'll be recording next Monday.
That's right. I'm sure we could arrange a special recording.
Sure.
To answer.
Whatever. We'll do a special release, special recording, all for you.
There you go.
Hi.
All right, guys. So this morning, it's 12/31/2019. I just got an email from Wyze at 4:14 Central Time a.m. regarding the data breach. This is what they say. Wyze users, there's nothing we value higher than trust from our users. In fact, our entire business model is dependent on building long-term trust with our customers that keep coming back. We are reaching out to you because a mistake in violation of that trust. On December 26, we discovered information in some of our non-production databases was mistakenly made public between December 4th and December 26th. So they did find out, they do say here, during this time the databases were accessed by an unauthorized party. So in fact there was a data breach, and Wyze is basically coming out and saying that, which is really interesting. They go on to say the information did not contain passwords, personal financial data, or video content. So that's a good relief. But that doesn't mean that people weren't able to access video live streams. They just weren't, based off of this, able to access video content that was maybe stored on their cloud. What they do say it contained is nicknames, users' emails, profile photos, Wi-Fi router names, a limited number of Alexa integration tokens, and other information detailed in the link below. And we'll provide this link in our show notes so you can go out and you can read a little bit more about it. But in fact, there was a leak. Wyze did come out quickly and say that it did happen. They go on to say that go ahead and reset your passwords, even though that no passwords were compromised. Go ahead and set up two-factor authentication. And they said make sure that any type of emails that you get come from at wyze.com and at wyzecam.com. That way, they are concerned, since emails were leaked, that there are going to be some phishing attacks. They say that basically anybody that was a Wyze customer before December 26th was part of the breach. Anybody who is after the 26th is not part of the breach. So if you just got your item for Christmas or the holidays and you didn't set it up right away, well, you got lucky on that one. So basically, they go on to say that we are deeply sorry for this oversight. We promise to learn from this mistake and will keep improving going forward. This includes enhancing our security processes, improving communication of security guidelines to all Wyze employees, and making more of our user-requested security features our top priorities in the coming months. It says they're also partnering with a third-party cybersecurity firm. Kind of surprises me that they didn't do this ahead of time, considering how important cybersecurity is, but it's good to know that they're doing it now. So anybody who is new their data wouldn't have been breached. Unfortunately, it's too late for the customers that have been loyal for quite a while. They're going to continue to investigate what happened, and they said that they would also post more updates in the future. So they also give a point of contact. It's just support.wyze.com. It's their standard support communication line. And this came straight from the CEO. I do have to say that owning this product, I do feel like Wyze has communicated better than any other product that I've owned that has had a data breach. I have had things in the past get breached. Like Chad and I talk about it. Feels like it happens all the time. Our data is constantly being compromised. So I do appreciate Wyze coming out, having frequent updates. Here we are, the 31st. I think this is the 4th update that they've given us since the 26th. So they're in constant communication with their customers. They do say whenever you go to that link that they provide in this email that we will provide in the show notes, they do go into some more detail about the China data and whether or not your data was actually compromised and was being stored on server over in China. They claim it wasn't. They claim that that server is just strictly used for their developers and testers that are based over in Beijing, and it does not contain any personal data from any of their users. So that's a little bit better information on that type of security. They claim that all the stuff that they do is based in US-based AWS servers. So check out that link in the show notes and make your decision on whether or not you're going to either stay with Wyze or you're going to even take a chance and purchase Wyze products in the future. I'm definitely sticking with them. I have a feeling Chad's sticking with them. He's not here right now with me, but I think they're doing the right thing by the customer. We'll see how this continues to go as we go into 2020 and we get more information from this leak from Wyze and from other third-party people. But, all right, let's continue on with our regular show. Well, that's all I had for this.
Me too.
I will give you a quick tip, though, about your
I love quick tips.
Amazon device.
Mm-hmm.
You said you like the drop-in feature. Have you ever tried the announce feature?
I've seen it. I have yet to need it because we only have one in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have it on my phone.
To just drop right in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well...
But like, announce the dinner's ready is the thing that it keeps suggesting for me.
Yep. That works really well. We use that a lot.
So you just go into the app, click that button, and then all of your devices in the house say, dinner's ready.
Yep. Or you can just open the app and say, yo, lady. And she'll chime in and you can say announce.
Gotcha.
What would you like to announce?
Gotcha.
Dinner's ready. So it's pretty cool. I didn't realize how many I have in my house.
How many do you have in your house?
Let's see.
All included.
7.
7?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is. It is a lot. So my girls have them
in every bedroom
in their room
for
an alarm clock, and they have one in the bathroom on the shelf for music. And they have one in their game room. Which that's an old one. That one's like 2 years old. And then I have one in my bedroom, and I have one in the kitchen, and then I have an old one in the garage. And all of them, I would say total price, I probably have only paid maybe $100 for all of them.
Right? I got mine for 99 cents.
Yeah. I think I got 2 for that price. Somehow I got another one for like 99 cents through Jessica's Amazon, which is tied to my Amazon. So, but anyways, do you want to do some crazy tech?
Let's do some crazy tech.
Crazy tech.
Should all this crazy tech be bought with great Black Friday deals? Should all this crazy tech be bought? We'd think we got a deal. We'd think we got a deal, my dude. We'd think we got a deal. We'll open all on Christmas morn and think we got a deal. Never knew that song repeats a lot.
Yeah.
So
that's what I want. I need a little horn, you know, with the little glittery things at the end.
Wearing our 2020 glasses.
That's right. Let's see good.
Yep.
So I'll go first.
Yeah.
I was just going to go over like this year, 2020.
Oh, okay.
In 5G technology.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the year. This is going to be a big year.
Well, T-Mobile already has it.
Yes.
And
AT&T. AT&T just released it to 5 more cities. New York,
but
Philadelphia.
Like the real thing or the fake thing they've had?
The real
5G.
Yes.
So what'd you say? Philadelphia?
Philadelphia, New York, Las Vegas, and I don't remember
and a couple others.
Yeah. They had a couple before these 5.
Oh, okay.
So they've
got a dozen.
It's rolling out.
Yeah.
Which is exciting because it seems like just like 3 weeks ago, it feels like that they're like, it can't go through a building. And you're like, oh no, we're doomed.
Right.
Or we're all going to die from the 5G waves. And now it's just like, okay, just put it up anyways.
Put it out. It'll be fine.
If we fry a few brains, it's no big deal. So, but I think this year is the year that 5G gets really big. Not like huge like 2021 is going to be, because everybody's going to get phones that are going to have it. It's going to be the year that you're going to start seeing the first adopters get it and being like posting stuff on the internet like, holy cow, I just downloaded the entire trilogy of Game of Thrones in 33 seconds.
Which means nothing to me.
While I was on a mountain. Riding a goat.
Yeah. So to me, this is the lens that I look at it through. Like, when the iPhone has 5G on it, then I'll believe that it's here.
Yes, I do too. And I'm very curious to see, will it be this year? Some say no. Some say yes.
I know. I've seen rumors both ways.
Yes.
Which is a weird thing for me. You know, at the beginning of 2019, I didn't see rumors for anything ever. Mm-hmm. But we started doing the show, and now I see rumors about stuff.
See rumors everywhere.
I know, right?
Yeah. So I think that it won't be this year for the iPhone.
I don't either.
I don't think there's a benefit. Because to me,
they just put the technology in there, and then you can't use it in most places.
Yeah, and nobody wants to pay for a 5G antenna that you can't use in almost the entire United States.
Right.
So I think 2021 will be the year. This year might be a big update, but I think 2021 is going to be the big update for the iPhones.
What if at the end of 2021 the world ends? Remember in 2012, the Mayan calendar or whatever? What if they just had the years transposed?
That's going to be bad for the iPhone sales.
Maybe it'll be after the launch.
Yes. Now,
because it was in December. It was supposed to be in December.
Yeah. Now I did hear this, and this is kind of bummed me out a little bit about AT&T. They're charging you extra if you want 5G. Basically, you have to get their highest unlimited plan. So hopefully that's not a thing that happens. Because they always try to come out with like some new thing.
Boo! I hate AT&T so much. Do you ever watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver?
I've watched a few. I don't watch the whole thing because it's like HBO, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just see clips every once in a while.
I subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And so I see like the big story of the week. At some point AT&T bought HBO, and so pretty much anytime he gets the chance to poke fun at AT&T, he does. But he calls him corporate daddy. And he's like, huh? I got you, corporate daddy. You can't tame me. I'm a rebellious child. But he's right. AT&T sucks.
Yeah,
so bad. Well,
they're just
probably they all do.
They're just a big
whoever provides your service, you probably hate them.
Right. Because I can only imagine being a giant company and being liked,
and trying to please everyone
is very difficult.
Right.
Because I'm not a giant company and I have a hard time pleasing everybody. There's several people that probably don't like me, but there are enough that do that I'm like, I'm good.
Right.
What's your crazy tech? Do you have one?
Sure.
All right, fine.
I talked about the hand presso.
Yes.
A few episodes back.
Yeah.
Ended up getting a cold brew kit.
You totally went
for Christmas.
Different direction.
I didn't ask for it, right?
I
didn't ask for it. It just happened.
That's how Christmas happens.
That's how Christmas happens. I really was not good to my wife. Like she constantly tells me how hard I am to buy for. She's asking me for tips, and I'm just like, I don't know either.
Right.
I can't buy for me either.
It's difficult.
But she got me a cold brew kit.
That's awesome.
And I kept meaning, because it says brew for like 12 to 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And I kept forgetting to do it the night before. And so anyway, I finally made a batch. Which is not tech at all. Like there's nothing to it. You just fill up the coffee filter with a lot of coffee. 12 to 14 tablespoons.
Whoa.
That's a lot of coffee.
That's a good amount of coffee.
But it's supposed to make 8 or 9 servings.
Oh, okay. So it's like bigger than a regular pot. Or
yeah,
might be.
It's probably a liter and a half.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But it also, like, it's super concentrated. And so you dilute it when you actually make your coffee.
Oh.
Like 1 to 2.
Like
2 to
milk?
1. Milk or water.
Oh, okay.
So if you just want coffee, you heat up some water and heat up your cold brew
Mm-hmm.
and do 2 parts water, 1 part cold brew.
Mhm.
If you wanted it stronger, obviously you can make it stronger. But that's how they recommend doing it.
Yeah.
Do 2 parts milk to 1 part coffee, or 2 parts water to 1 part coffee.
Gotcha.
What I did was I did half and half
Mm-hmm.
with ice and milk,
Mm-hmm.
and then like a splash of cream. And like that's all of my flavor. I haven't added any sugar or anything extra.
Nice.
So yeah, I really like it.
Yeah.
And sometimes crazy tech can be super low key.
Yeah, because, I mean, really, sometimes the simplest things are crazy.
Yeah. But it cleaned up well.
Nice.
I mean, I've only used it once, but the filter cleaned up well. I don't have any grounds in my coffee,
That's good.
which is good. It's
Yeah.
really fine mesh, but I like it so far.
Very cool. I'm going to have to try it sometime. You're going to have to make
I'll bring you in a cup.
Bring me in a cup of it.
So this
Cup of
morning,
Joe.
I had cold brew coffee,
Mhm.
iced coffee, I guess,
Mhm.
with milk and sugar, and I had a breakfast sandwich, and I haven't spent any money because it was all from the grocery store.
There you go.
How about that?
That's
When
the
I
best
stop
kind of meal you can
when
make.
I stop at Starbucks and get the same thing that I
Yeah.
made myself this morning, it's over $10
Oh, my gosh.
for a sandwich
that
and a
makes
coffee.
sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
So, zero, baby.
0. Boom. Nice. Well, that's all I have this week. How about you?
Same.
Welcome to the new year, people. And-
Welcome to 2020.
Yes.
Hope you're seeing things clearly.
Yeah, and hopefully we can bring you
many-
some fun, exciting episodes
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
So this is going to be crazy because we're actually starting a year.
We're starting a decade.
Yeah, we're starting
A year. We're starting a decade.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
This podcast started last March.
Yes.
We never started in a whole year. We had a 3-month.
Right.
Ish
We
lead
were
up.
behind. Yeah. So really, what we've done is we've had 44 test episodes
Yes.
to start this one.
Get ready, people.
Are we going to do seasons?
Uh,
Is this season 1, episode 1, or is this episode 45?
I don't know yet. We need to talk about this
Sick. Off mic.
off mic.
You can find us on the internet at www.lunchtimetechtalk.com / probably something, but I don't know what. You can find us at Lunchtime Tech Talk on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us at Lunchtime Tech T1 on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at MSUMac. That's MSUMACC. Mike, where you at?
You can find me on Twitter at run_bike_Mike / something else. I'm just kidding. And you can find me everywhere else at runbikemike. And that's it.
Yeah. Hey, we were having some issues with YouTube uploading, but I noticed the last one uploaded just fine.
It did.
So that's good.
Yep. And I found out some other stuff about that. So if you've missed episodes on YouTube, hopefully in the future, you will not be missing them.
Yeah, YouTube is fully spelled out Lunchtime Tech Talk,
Yes.
as opposed to being abbreviated like Twitter.
Yeah. Twitter's such a pain.
Our podcast is just like you.
I know.
Everything is Lunchtime Tech Talk except for Twitter.
Yep. Because Twitter doesn't like me. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
See ya.